I guess my view on all this is it doesn't really make sense for Bitcoin to be spent on anything. We come back to the fundamental issue, right? The rational construct is an inflationary currency and a deflationary property. Like if you think about this really deeply, you don't really want to buy a Tesla with a Bitcoin because Bitcoin's going to $1 million and the Tesla's going to zero. What you want to do is borrow $50,000 at 4% interest to buy the Tesla. And then in 10 years, you'll have the $1 million and you'll be able to buy another Tesla and then you'll have $10 million. So if what you want is to construct a system that makes you wealthy and keeps you wealthy and keeps all the gears of commerce spinning, the system that works best is everybody holds a digital currency and they hold a digital property or a digital asset. They're both technically assets, which is why I distinguish one as property and one as currency. And then the strategy long-term is you keep financing the property to the currency. You don't want to pay for things with Bitcoin in Argentina. You want to borrow pesos against the Bitcoin and pay for things in pesos because the peso is worth 1% of what it was 10 years ago. So if you borrowed 1 million pesos, it's going to zero and the Bitcoin is going to the moon. So you really want both. I'm not asking for Turkey to abandon their currency or United States or Europe or Korea or Japan or Singapore or Malaysia to abandon their currency. I'm just, instead of telling them they have to abandon their sovereignty, right? And there's irony here, right? Like people that are in favor of sovereignty want someone else to abandon their sovereignty, right? Right? Instead of telling the Prime Minister of Malaysia that I disagree with their currency and they should disband their police force and stop taxing people and disband their army, I could just say, this Bitcoin will make your country richer and better. You get the sense sometimes there are some people in the community that if Jerome Powell were to make a press release tomorrow saying, we've seen the light and the United States is going to buy $100 billion of Bitcoin, they would be unhappy about that.
I think they'd be conflicted.
It's like they don't want other people to get the secret. But of course, the point is, if Bitcoin is money for enemies, isn't the bigger idea Bitcoin is technology to make the world a better place? What's wrong? Do I mind if JP Morgan starts custodying $100 billion of Bitcoin? They'll pick up the phone, call all their clients will start buying Bitcoin, and the price of Bitcoin will go to the roof, and it'll demonetize $100 trillion of other assets. And that means that the cost of food and housing and clothing and gold jewelry will go down. And it means that society will get more rational. And it means that the effective ability to pay deficits with inflation will be deteriorated. Over the long term, when you look out long term, meaning when Bitcoin is $500 trillion of the economy, then the marginal ability of political systems to inflate the currency is going to deteriorate. I think there's an evolutionary view and there's a revolutionary view. And if you look, and the revolutionary argument is the currencies are bad, taxes are bad, governments are bad, big corporations are bad, the banks are bad. And we don't want to support any of them. And we're revolutionaries. The evolutionary view is, I invented oil and steel and electricity, and Isaac Newton invented engineering math. And is the world a better place with calculus, oil, steel, and electricity? And should we introduce it? And the evolutionary view is apolitical. It's constructive and it's also cooperative, right? Every country can benefit from calculus, steel, oil, and electricity, right? And computers, every country, every ideology, and the human race is better. If you look at the evolutionary view for Bitcoin, the evolutionary view would be Bitcoin is digital energy. It's a technology. Therefore, it's good for every country. And Bitcoin is digital property, and it's a better balance sheet asset than cash or credit. So therefore, every company can and should buy Bitcoin. Now let's come back to the dollar. I mean, the big idea here is 180 currencies. 60 of them are pegged to the dollar, 66. There's 130 floating currencies. How many do we need? How many really can compete? Not more than a dozen. So I really think what you're going to see is if the citizens had their choice, you would see a collapse of 100 currencies overnight and everybody would switch. Like there's not a single South American currency that would survive, not a single African currency that would survive, right? The euro, the yen, maybe. The yuan is weak. The CNY is weak. The ruble, no, right? And so the question then is, well, why haven't they already? And the answer is because there's no digital dollar. And you want to discourage people from ever selling or trading the Bitcoin, and you want to encourage them to, what you really want to do is accelerate the development of a Bitcoin banking sector where you can own the Bitcoin and borrow against it and securitize it. Silvergate and MicroStrategy, Coinbase, we're all crossing the chasm companies. All three are publicly traded. Publicly traded. And so we have one foot in the Bitcoin world of decentralization and the crypto world, and another foot in the institutional regulated world. We have an opportunity to grow. It is undisputed that the world wants trillions of dollars of stablecoin. We know they want it. And it's pretty clear the world needs trillions of dollars of digital property. Needs it. A lot of people know it, not everybody know it. Right? Those two things are clear. Everything else is murky, right? The rest is unclear. And coming back to El Salvador, well, they've got a currency. The real currency is the dollar, right? The property is the Bitcoin. The entire system would work much smoother if you had US dollar stablecoins moving on Lightning rails. I think the reason that they had to make Bitcoin legal tender was because they couldn't move the US dollars back and forth through the Lightning wallet properly, or using Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's a transport protocol to move the money cross borders or something like that. They want digital property at any scale at the speed of light, friction-free to 8 billion mobile devices. And that is Bitcoin. And they want trillions of dollars of it, 10 trillion, 20 trillion, 100 trillion, 200 trillion. They want that. A lot of people don't know they want that. But I guess I would say 5 or 10% of the people know they want that. The other 90% don't know, but they'll figure it out. Saylor, the engineer, thinks what they really need is digital energy. And most people definitely don't get that, right? I think the entire 21st century economy needs digital energy, which means $500 trillion worth of digital energy moving at the speed of light, friction-free, from 8 billion devices across 100 million companies, no power loss, superconducting network. That's what I think. I don't think most people know they want that. I think a lot of people know they want digital property, but I think even more people want digital currency. And by digital currency, I mean they want the US dollar. They want the US dollar stablecoin on a crypto rail, let's say the Lightning Network, but it could be any network. They don't really give a crap. What they want is I'm in Turkey. You follow the news, like I'm in Turkey, I have lira, I want to convert my lira to dollars. Okay, my lira is dollars, it's not going to debase, but it's in a Turkish bank. How long before an edict comes out freezing the bank accounts and converting your money from dollars back into lira and devaluing it for you? I mean, that's the Argentine playbook, right? That happened to me.
Yeah.
That happened in Lebanon.
Yep.
That happened in Cyprus, right? It happened in Russia. It happens in every currency class. If you're in Turkey, what you want, or Argentina, or wherever, what you want is dollars, but you can't get the dollars because there's no bank, right? If there was a bank, you don't trust the bank.